Okay, welcome to Four Pillars Tabernacle. You are still with Pastor Nathaniel. Welcome. This is the season of Easter, and we want to know the true essence of the reason Jesus came to die. And we all know that it is for forgiveness of sins. So he had to die, he had to come and die to forgive our sins. Now, the question is, why was it necessary for him to come down as a man and die? As God, why didn't he sit in heaven and simply declare us righteous? Why was it necessary for him to come down and die for our sins? Okay, and we're going to look at the scripture to appropriate the reason he came to die. And I want to read Romans chapter 5. We'll start from verse 13. Therefore, until law, sin was in the world, but sin is not credited when there is no law. Nevertheless, 14, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over to those who had not sinned, after the likeness of Adam's transgression, who is the type of him who was to come. But the free gift is not as the offense. For if by the offense of one many died, take note, much more the grace of God and the gift by grace of the one man, Jesus Christ, abound to many. And the gift is not as it was through the one who sinned. For the judgment was by one to condemnation, but the free gift that came because of the many offenses resulted in justification. For by one man's offense death reigned through one. Much more, they who receive abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness will reign in life through the one, Jesus Christ. Now, what that place is trying to, let us know is that sin entered the world through one man, and also forgiveness of sin, which is righteousness or justification, also entered the world through one man. But take note of the word he said that the coming of justification is not like the coming of sin. The coming of sin was through a sinful man, but the coming of justification to righteousness comes through a righteous person, and it is for many, as sin was for many. So you were a sinner by declaration. You are also a righteous man by declaration. That's the essence of that passage. Now let's take a look at this passage and know why the justification has to do with God coming as a man. Of course, we have to look at it here. In Hebrews chapter 2, verse 14, it says, therefore, since the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise partook of the same, so that through death he might destroy him who had the power of death, that is the devil. Now, since the children are made of flesh and blood, it's also necessary for him to come through the same flesh and blood, so that through the death on the cross, he can destroy him that had the power of death, and that's the devil. Now, we leave that part of that's the devil for the next day to talk about and really understand. We want to look at the essence, the reason he had to become a man. And I call it the necessity of the manliness of God. Now, this is number one. God, the forgiveness of sin means the taking away of the condemnation that we used to have between God and man. By the taking away of the condemnation, we're now going to have a right relationship. Now, the forgiveness of sins there mean the replacement of the former relationship that existed between man and God was a religion. The replacement of religion with relationship. So we're no longer relating with man, with God through religion, a set of rules, a way of life. No. We're now relating with God through a relationship where God understands our weakness and judge us according to it. So that's what we're doing now. That's the essence of this coming. And for a relationship to be established, it must not be through Aaron. It must be through the person who wants to relate with the person himself. Must be on ground to let that relationship happen. Now, the number two is that God became, okay, number one, God became a man to build a relationship with man, to replace religion. That's it. To build a relationship with man in order to replace religion. So God became a man for that purpose. Two, he did this to replace master-servant relationship that existed between God and man with father-son relationship. So in order to take away master-servant relationship that existed, he came down and built father and son relationship. John chapter 1 verse 10 says, John chapter 1 verse 10 says, John chapter 1, let's look at John chapter 1 verse 10. It says, he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Verse 11, he came to his own, and his own did not receive him. Now this is verse 12. It says, but as many as received him, to them he gave the right to be the children of God, even to those who believe in his name. So the moment he came and we believed in his name, we have been given the right to be the children of God. The next reason that made it necessary for God to come down is that he became a man to build a new covenant, a covenant of love, to replace the old covenant of revenge and hatred. For God to build a new covenant in replacement of the old covenant, he must be a man. The reason is that the old covenant was created also by man. So it requires man to also take away the old and keep the new. Now we look at Ephesians chapter 2 verse 15. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 15 is what it tells us. Ephesians 2:15 says, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, which is the law of commandments contained in ordinances, in order to make himself of the two one new man, thus making peace. 16 says, and that he might reconcile both to God in one body by the cross, by which he put to death the enmity. So he came so that through his flesh on the cross he would put an end to the enmity between God and man, and replace that with a new relationship, a new covenant, the covenant of love, which if we go to John chapter 13, it is written, it said, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Verse 35. He said, verse 34, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. As I have loved you, that you also love one another. So that's why it was necessary for God to come down, to take us to a new place, which is called a new covenant. And let me add this last one to you. You yourself, you cannot bless any man except you reason like him. You cannot teach any man except you reason like him. You must first reason like a man you want to teach, in order for you to lift him from where he is to where you want to take him to. If you are a nursery school teacher, as old as you are, you will reason like a nursery school children, so that you can raise them from that level to the level you want to take them to. So God, in his infinity, wanted to take us from the level of hatred, revenge, wickedness, to the new position called the new commandment. He had to come and reason like us, walk with us, feel what we feel, stay the way we stay, and at the end of the day, take us out from that place to the position he wanted us to be. And after that, he went back to the throne. Thank you. Welcome. Anytime you have questions, don't fail to call me on 080-6293-1194. Once again, thanks for joining me. I am Pastor Nathaniel. Welcome.